Hey guys, I wanted to get you a video here today. I just want to go over some tools. This can be whether you are getting ready to embark on the Transform Your Dog in 60 Days program or you are getting ready to take your dog home from boot camp. So I have a couple different tools here and I want to talk about each one and their purpose. So the first thing I want to go over is prong collars. Now, not every dog throughout our program would use a prong collar, but I wanted to talk about it if your trainer that you're working with suggests that you do use it. So we have two different sizes. This would be for a large to medium dog, and this would be for a small dog or puppy. So a little bit of a smaller link on this one, a little bit of a bigger. So we use the Herm Sprenger prong collar brand. Really high quality prong collars, company that came out of Germany. So prong collars are great. Not every dog needs to use them, but it really does help teach good manners on the leash, not pulling, and it really helps dogs understand how to give to training pressure. So with the help of your trainer, if they suggest using a prong collar, they can walk you through when it would be applicable to you. I wanted to show you if you're getting your dog home from boot camp and let's say it's the end of the night and you did your session with your trainer and you need a little bit of help getting the prong collar on and off either the next morning or getting it off that evening. So these little links come apart, and so what you'll do is you'll pop it up just a little bit here and you'll pinch and pull apart. So you want to make sure that you're pinching these two pieces together, and same to put it back in. If I just try to put it back in, it's not going to go. So I need to pinch the top of this, the very tippy top, and put them in these little eyelid things here. So if I miss and I go too high, the prong collar could get jammed, and so I want to make sure that they're both in the little eyelets right there. And it can come apart on any one. With a brand new prong collar, the metal can be a little bit tight, so if it's tricky, just give your trainer a call and they can work you through walk you through how to get these apart. This is a brand new prong collar. The metal's a little bit tighter. I have to squeeze a little bit more, but over time it will get easier and you'll get the hang of it. So again, with these, I want to make sure that I'm pinching, because if I don't, it's not going to fit in. So I pinch the tippy top and pop it in the eyelets. I don't want to go too high. I want to make sure it's right in there. So if you're having problems with it, again, give your trainer a call. But with the TYD 60 program, you'll typically, with most dogs, we'll start with the prong collar before we go into any tools. If we have a dog that's a little bit more sensitive and we don't need to be using a prong collar, that's totally fine. We sometimes recommend getting a slip lead. This is great for puppies. You can find these on Amazon or Chewy.com or at your local pet store. So a slip lead is nice because it has a similar concept where it can apply pressure to the dog and release pressure as well. So I prefer when I'm teaching a dog to resolve pressure on the leash to use this versus their flat collar and buckle. And I believe it's a little bit safer because it's a lot harder for a dog to slip out of this because I can size it to the neck of the dog, add this stopper here, and make sure that it's not sliding outward. Sometimes I see people with just regular flat collar, buckle collars on their dogs, and sometimes you can stick your whole hand through there and the dog can slip out. And so this is just a little bit safer for me. And I think this is great to get puppies used to being on the leash, or if you have a dog that's a little bit more sensitive, or if you're transferring your dog from a prong collar to this is also a great option too. Once we make sure that the dog understands how to walk nicely on a leash, how to heel with you, and a lot of other commands. We might not need this over time. So this is a tool. This prong collar is a tool that I often use with my personal dogs. And then there's a time where they don't really need it anymore. They understand then they need to walk with me. They understand how to sit, how to lay down, how to go to a place bed, how to wait at doors. And you know, maybe if I go to a very distracting environment like the farmer's market, and I might need a little bit more help that day just because it's a little bit more of a stimulating environment, I can always go back to this tool. But I mean, a lot of the times, if I'm finding that my dogs are responding without tools, then this is a great tool to go to, and I feel like it's pretty safe. So great tool. These could be anywhere from $10 to $20 Amazon. You can even get them at Scheels. I believe Sportsman's Warehouse sells these as well. So anyway, really great stuff there. So now I want to go into e-collars. So this is kind of what we're known for at Ty the Dog Guy is e-collars, teaching low-level e-collar training. So whether you're starting out with a Transform Your Dog in 60 Days program where you'll have a trainer teach you how to use this tool and take you through the process of, or you're getting ready to take your dog home from boot camp and the dog's already learned the collar system and how the training is applied, this is a great reference to go back to. So I first want to start, before I even talk about the actual training of it, is just the functionality of the collar. And I wanted to make this video so if you're getting confused on how to turn it on and off and the different features that it has, this is something that you can go back to so that you and your trainer can really get into the training and focus a lot on just getting right to how we train with it and teaching your dog and not wasting too much time so you have good quality sessions with your trainer. So turning it on and off, there's going to be two. There's going to be a way to turn the collar on and off, and there's going to be a way to turn the remote on and off. So to turn the collar on and off, there is a red magnet here and a red magnet there. And no matter what color e-collar you have, some of these over here are blue, and some of these look a little different. I'll explain that in a minute. There always be a red dot on the remote and a red dot on the collar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to tap these together, and that light is going to turn green and it's going to start flashing green at me. So that lets me know that this is on and it has battery. If it starts to flash yellow, that means it's getting ready to die. The battery needs to be charged. So simple. Again, I can do the same thing to turn it off. I just touch the two red dots together. They're magnetic on and off switch, and it turned the collar off. No green light blinking at me. So again, I'll just turn that on there. So that's good. It's ready to go. Now my remote is still off, so I need to turn this on because if I'm hitting any buttons, it's not working. So there's a couple different buttons on the back here, and this button that says on off light is the button I want to be focusing on to turn this on and off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold this L button down. So I'm going to hold it down and it's going to turn on. It's going to let you know it's on. The light's going to turn blue. The backlit light is going to be blue. And it's on. Right now it's set to 0, but I can also test to see if the collar's on by hitting this T button. That's a vibration function. We'll get into that here in a minute. But again, to turn it off, what I can do is hold this down and it's going to let me know that it's off. Right there. It goes black. Hitting buttons, it's not working, but collar is still on. So that's one thing people get confused on is they think if they turn this off, they're also turning the collar off, but in order to turn it off, I have to touch that with the red. So turn it back on here. Another way you can turn it off is at the end of every night, you should be taking this off of your dog. So this is a wonderful tool, but don't have your dog in this for more than 12 hours. And if you have a dog with allergies, environmental allergies or allergies to metal, let your trainer know, because we can adjust these points here, and you might even not have your dog in this collar quite that long. So throughout the training process, we have the dogs wear it most of the day, not just when we're training, so they get used to it. But if your dog has an allergy to it, talk to your trainer about some different options there. But never have your dog in this overnight. You want to make sure that you're giving your dog plenty of rest throughout the night with the collar. It's not on for more than the recommended is they say with this brand not more than 12 hours. So at the end of every night, what I want to do is I want to charge it, so that way it's ready to go the next day. So there's 2 ports here, one here and one here on the collar itself, and I'm just going to peel this back. And that's how I can plug this in. So let's go plug in. This goes in my kitchen at the end of the night. And I plug it in right here. And if it's plugged in, what's gonna happen is this is gonna turn red. And then when it's charged, it's gonna turn a solid green, so you know it's done. But you can leave it on overnight. And I can plug this in here. It's not gonna turn green because it's not plugged into the wall right now, but if it was, it would actually turn the whole system off. So that way in the morning, when you wake up and you unplug it, make sure to close this here. Unplug this, close this here. These collars are waterproof, but just make sure that that's sealed up. You don't want to get any dirt or moisture in there. And then when I unplug it, it will still be off, and I'm going to want to turn it on. So yeah, so that way you can kind of see some different options turning it on and off. So now I want to talk about different points, and then we'll actually go into fitting it on a dog's neck. But so this is the default points that come with any collar that's in the box. What also comes in the box is you get a little Ziploc baggie that has some extra points in it. So this one's a little bit longer. This point works really well for dogs with longer coats, Border Collies, German Shepherds, dogs with a little bit of a fluffier coat. If you have a dog like a Husky or a, oh heavens, like Malamute, or even sometimes St. Bernards that just have really, really thick coats, you can actually get even longer points. You just have to order them through the website. So they don't come in your box. But if you have a dog with a really, really thick coat, like an Arctic breed, you might have to buy some extra points. And I think those are, I don't know, 10 to 20 bucks. I can't remember exactly, but I have to look online. But you can change these out. There's this little tool that comes in the box, and it just has a little handle here. And what you do is you just put it around the point and you twist it. And it has a little screw right here. And it just pops off. So I could change out the point pretty easily. Another good example of changing out points is I have a lot of clients with doodles, and sometimes in the wintertime they let their doodle hair grow a little bit longer. So they would add a point like this if they're golden doodle or Berner doodle or Labradoodle, whatever you got, grows out their hair and you don't cut it. You might want to go to a longer point. If you keep your doodle short, then you might want to stick with these ones. So yeah, so these are just the generic ones. Pretty easy to exchange. If you ever lose one, you can order one. Make sure that when you're changing them on, you take this tool back and you just tighten it up really good so that way it doesn't get loose on you. So like golden retrievers might be another breed that I would put this on, but maybe Labrador would be better with the shorter points depending on the coat of the dog. So a couple other point options. These are longer points, but these are hypoallergenic. You can also get I believe they have a hypoallergenic point and they have a titanium point. If we have dogs with sensitivities, and you can get them in different lengths too. This is for a dog with a little bit of a thicker coat, so her points are a little bit longer, so she's feeling them consistently. but you can get shorter points too. So that's also an option. You can order those on the website, or talk to your trainer and they can help you with that. So this is another type of system here. This has 4 points. We call this a comfort pad. So this is for a dog that's pretty sensitive. So instead of having 2 points, it has 4 points, so it dilutes the stimulation a little bit. And so if we have a dog that's really sensitive, or even a dog that's, you know, on the smaller side that just doesn't require as much, this is also a good option too. This also comes in different lengths, so that makes it nice if you have maybe a bushier dog that is more sensitive. You'd be surprised what breeds are sensitive and what are not. We've had Rottweilers that are just super sensitive, and that's just fine. We just go with what the dog needs. And then we've had Frenchies that are not sensitive, you know, just it doesn't necessarily matter the size of the dog. It just, we just go with what the dog needs. So if you need something like this, talk to your trainer about that. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about before we fit this to a dog is the remote. So a lot of people need help understanding the different buttons on it. So this is the Mini Educator. They have a couple different ones. This also would be similar if you had a little dog and you had the Micro Educator. The remote is the same. The Micro Educator is made for smaller dogs. It's 20% less box and 20% less stimulation. So it's actually a collar that's really great for smaller dogs if you don't want this bulky thing on a smaller dog's neck. Like if you have a Dachshund or you know, Chihuahua. We've used it on miniature Yorkies, teacup poodles, all kinds of dogs, French bulldogs. So lots and lots of things we can customize to benefit your dog. So the remote's the same, but this is the Mini Educator. And right out of the box, this is a brand new one. I haven't programmed anything to it. This is just, you know, right out of the box. So on this dial here, you're gonna see a flashing 1D. That's always gonna be flashing. What that means is this is a 1-dog unit. If you have 2 dogs, you can actually program 1 dog here and 1 dog here. So if you're doing a 2-dog boot camp or a 2-dog transform your dog in 60 days program, we call it our TUID 60, and you would like to program it to 1 remote, you can talk to your trainer about that, and they can help you program that. But so it's always going to be flashing at us unless it's in use. So once it's in use, it's letting me know that the 1D, the 1 dog is in use right there. So it will be flashing when it's not, when we're not hitting buttons here. This is the dial that's going to adjust stimulation levels. So there's a red line here. When it's lined up in the center, it's on 0, and it's also going to tell you on the screen. When you roll away from your body, it's rolling it up. When you roll towards your body, it's rolling it down. So it's rolling the levels up and rolling the levels down. The M stands for momentary and the C stands for continuous. The way we train at Ty the Dog Guy is there's going to be times when we tap the button and there's going to be times when we hold the button down continuously. And I'm going to make a separate video going into that in a little bit more depth. So a lot of trainers, what they'll advise you to do and what they might just have you to do, make it simple, is go on the back here. There's an M/C. And what you'll do is you'll hold it down till it beeps at you. And that's going to change it to both momentary. And we're going to want to do it again. We don't want it on M. We want it on C. So what that means is if I hold down the button, it's going to hold down with my finger on it. But at the same time, if I just need to give a tap, I'm able to have control. So I've had clients that joke and say, okay, C equals like control. Like I have control over everything that the collar's doing. Now, because we just have it on C, this button right here can become a boost. And so it comes preset to +5. That is customizable. +5 isn't a huge jump. Once you work with your trainer and you feel the actual stimulation, +5 isn't a huge jump, but it might be kind of nice if your dog is smelling the ground really intensely and just not feeling the e-collar, or you know, there's somebody on a bike that's super exciting and you need a little bit more stimulation, or people are coming over and your dog's having a hard time placing. Just a little bit more in those situations of excitement or where dogs are really adrenalized can be helpful. But I will leave that to the trainers to coach you guys through that stuff of levels. But I just wanted to just kind of show you the function of it. So no matter what level I'm on 8 right now. So if I hit this black button, it's sending level 8 to this collar as long as my finger is down. If I go to the red button, it's gonna go to 13, but as soon as I let my finger up, it's back to 8. So it's kind of nice so you don't have to go so much with the dial. So, you know, if my dog generally works at a 15, we're out for a walk, gets a little excited, forgets what we're doing, and I need a little bit more, 20 isn't a huge jump. For reference, I don't feel it till about 20. That doesn't mean that dogs don't feel it at 20, but I'll let the trainers work with you guys and your dogs to decide a good appropriate level for your dog. So yeah, just some cool functions. It also has a locking feature on levels. And so some people will accidentally lock the e-collar and get a little bit worried and say, I can't unlock it. And so I'm gonna show you how to unlock it and lock it. So if I'm on a 12 here, I'm just gonna hold this down. I'm holding down the dial. So it actually clicks and I can feel it click. And I wait until it flashes at me, and then it's locked in. So if I can go to 12 and I still have my boost function, but it's gonna be locked into those 2 levels. If I turn the dial up and down, it's not gonna do anything. It's locked in that level. There's a lot of people that like to train that way. I personally don't, and you know, talk to your trainers about, you know, different reasons of locking and unlocking. I'll leave that up to the trainers. But it is a nice function for sure. So I can also unlock it, and then it's gonna be back to where my dial was. So my dial was all the way down to 0, that red line in the center. So yeah, and then also be careful too. So if I have it locked at 12 and this gets bumped up and I unlock it, now it's bumped a little bit higher. So just be aware of where that dial's at. So this is a vibration function. It could also be set to a tone function. It comes preset to vibration. You know, talk to your trainers about where that would be useful. I know a lot of trainers don't use the vibration because we can't adjust settings. So no matter where this dial is at, it's not affecting the vibration. Like if I turn the dial higher, still the same. If I go all the way to 0, still the same. So it's not as customizable, but maybe if you're working for a puppy, with a puppy, excuse me, and they're jumping on the counter, you need a little bit of a behavioral interrupt, that might be something that's appropriate. But I'll leave that up to the trainers to talk to you guys about when you might want to use vibration. So the last function is, so notice how this says on and off light. We talked about the on and off feature. We didn't quite talk about the light. So the reason why this is L is this can actually become a light, and it's nice. So let's say it's like in the wintertime and it's 5 o'clock and you're getting home from work and you got to get the dog out on a walk. You can turn this on and people can see you, cars can see you. So if I tap this button once, instead of holding it down, because remember when I hold it down, it's going to turn on and off the collar. But if I tap the button once, it's going to send a flashing light to the collar. So it'll just be flashing. If I tap it a second time, it's going to be a solid light. So this will drain your battery faster if you have this on. But like I said, for nighttime walks, I've used this before with my dogs on an evening run or something like that. Cars can see me, and if I have the collar downward on the dog, I can actually sometimes, if the dog isn't too fluffy, where the fur is blocking the e-collar and the dog has a more sleek coat, you can actually see the sidewalk as you're walking. It gets that bright. It's kind of nice. So if I tap it a third time, it's going to turn it off. So just tap once for flashing, tap 2 for solid, tap 3 for completely off. If I hold down this, just remember that that's turning on and off the remote. All right, we're gonna end this video and get a dog so we can show you how to fit it.